Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Iron Fist Season 1, Episode 12. It's called Bar the Big Boss. Full spoilers for the episode. One more to go.
So close.
Just one more.
So
We are
damn close.
almost done. We are almost done with Iron Fist, and I am so excited that we're almost done. Honestly, this will probably be one of the shortest videos we've done on it, because I feel like I have little new to add, really, beyond my
Yeah.
complaints that I've been saying kind of repeatedly for the last like 6 videos. So I'm going to try and not be repetitious. You know how we feel at this point if you've been following along. Same problems are there, overly talking about everything. Every scene feels like they're just reiterating information that one character doesn't know, and just repeatedly and repeatedly, and that's it. So the key points here, the main plot is that Bakuto.
You got the hang of that now.
Okay. Bakuto goes to Ward, and we haven't seen Ward in like 2 episodes. He's been in a hospital.
Yep.
And honestly, now it kind of feels like they just didn't know what to do with him for 2 episodes, so they just. He's in a hospital for 2
Yeah, he
episodes.
comes out and he hasn't like nothing's changed. He didn't get any perspective while he was in there.
No. No.
Nothing benefited from him being away. Like on Harold's end, he didn't do anything that he couldn't have done really.
Yeah, not really. It was just an excuse to keep him away, because they didn't want him to be here until now. So it was like, here, he'll be
Yeah,
there
pretty
for
much.
2 episodes. And that was kind of it. But he makes a deal with Bakuto. Bakuto is like, oh, you can run the company and we can have a partnership. And in return, you and Joy can be happy and away from your father. We'll put him down because we know how to kill him properly. And we all live happily ever after. You won't be in control like Gao was with your father. It'll just be, there's my cats. You'll just be good. You'll be happy. You'll be a millionaire. We're done, right? Nice and happy. Everyone gets a happy ending. So Ward shows up at the apartment in the penthouse and he tries to get Joy away, but Bakuto breaks his word and shows up anyway and uses all of them as bait for Danny. He wants Danny to show up.
Yes.
And probably all the normal problems that we have, and all the normal problems are still there. They're still a problem. But the first new problem with this one, just specific to this one, so he calls Danny and he shows him footage of everyone and he shoots Joy on camera. He's like, here, this is
Yeah.
how serious I am. Shoot Joy. Now that was a clean wound. She'll be fine if she gets to hospital in like 30 minutes. But that's how long you've got until I behead Harold, which will kill him, by the way, permanently. It's like a vampire. Decapitation.
Yeah. And this is where it was weird because Danny was like, "Oh, Harold came back from the dead." It was like, did he even really know that Harold was dead?
No, he did, because I thought the same thing. But then you remember, he already came back before that. He
Oh,
died of
okay.
cancer and he came back from the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I thought the same thing. I'm like, wait, he didn't know that he died. But no, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, he just didn't. We're thinking of the recent death.
Yeah, we're thinking of the death that happened during the show, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay. I'll allow that.
so yeah, he's like, yeah, you've got 30 minutes to come here, and it cuts back to the apartment, the penthouse, and he's like, yeah, well, Danny's got 2 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't understand the point in adding this ticking clock of 30 minutes
If you're just going
it's
to cut
just going
to
to cut to the end of it and there was no tension. Like, that's the point of the countdown, right? To create tension. And it just doesn't bother. It doesn't use it at all. It's like, well, why even bother with the countdown? They might have well gone, hey, get over here or we'll kill him.
Don't get me wrong, countdowns are overused. They are. They're just, it's a very easy thing to do, is to put a bomb in a room and say, right, we've got an hour or 10 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's very easy to do that, and it is overused. But there's no point in doing it if you're just going to cut to the end of it.
Yeah, at least it's overused because it works.
But Danny shows up just in time, and of course, throughout all this, like, Joy's realised Ward's done this, and Ward's like, no, you gotta trust me, Harold's evil and crazy, and he's not come back properly when he came back. And he's worse now, because he hasn't actually mentioned that he killed him a second time, but that's what he's thinking. He's thinking, well, he lost a part of his soul the first time he came back. I'm pretty
Now
sure
he's lost a bit more. Yeah.
this second time he's lost even more. He's even more insane. And we know this to be true for the most part. In fact, I loved it before this, when he's first tried to like get her out, and
He goes, where's Kyle?
there's Kyle, and she's like, who's Kyle? Because she didn't find out about Harold until after he'd already killed Kyle.
Yeah.
That's really funny. But yeah, so he's like, yeah, where's Kyle? He's probably killed Kyle. I have no proof of that, but he probably did. Not seen him in a while.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't see him in a while Harold was alive either. I mean, he just wasn't there for like 5 episodes. He was in 1 and 2. You killed him in 7. So you didn't see him for a while then.
I think it was 9 he killed him in, but whatever.
Whatever, I thought it was 7, but
It
it
was
doesn't
nine.
really matter.
I vividly remember picking the ice cream image as the thumbnail for
Oh
episode
no, no, I
9.
meant when he killed Harold in
Oh,
7.
right,
We
okay,
didn't
yeah.
see Kyle. Ward didn't see Kyle between those two events.
Ah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I was talking about Kyle's death.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah. No, that was 9.
But anyway, so he comes over. He's like, "Oh, you want the Iron Fist?" He's like, "Yeah, we're going to handcuff you." Blah 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 blah. Who gives a shit? This is my biggest problem. I don't care about anything that's going on now. We're at this point, and so much of this is about the end of the well, not ended yet, but the family drama, the Meacham family drama that's dominated so much running time of this
Yeah.
season, and I don't give a shit about any of it. And like, I guess I'm supposed to care a little bit when Joy like tries to shout after Danny, saying, "No, don't let him go." This like shit,
Yeah.
and afterwards, no, Danny would come to protect us. She believed, and they set up at the start of the show that she actually has sympathy for Danny, and she was the one who was kind of.
Yes.
But they've not really done anything with it. Their plot lines have been so separate ever since, like, the hand
Very, very early.
properly became a thing. I think the last time they really were together for any extended period of time is when the Hatchet Men showed up and tried to grab her.
And that was what, episode 3 or 4?
4, I think.
It's around that point. Because, yeah, at that point then, he's like, okay, the hand's involved and the heroin stuff, starts. That plot goes on there. And that's the point where Joy just does all the business stuff. I don't think they even see each other again until they run into each other on the street
Yeah,
accidentally. And Joy's like, hey, we've been fired.
that's the first time they see each other is when they just accidentally run into each other.
And then not again until now.
Until now, yeah. Oh, no, wait, no, that's not entirely true. There was a scene where Danny showed up at the penthouse, like, an episode, 2 episodes ago, and she was there.
Okay.
And he
yeah.
was surprised Harold was alive. He thought he'd died.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
okay,
you're
there was
right.
one more.
One more that
But
was ultimately irrelevant.
yeah, the point remains though is that the plot lines have felt so separate that while I see what they're trying to do by have her trying to shout after him like, no, don't let him go. Like,
You haven't built this
yeah,
relationship.
he shouldn't sacrifice himself because obviously Harold's in her ear and like, no, Danny's given a noble sacrifice for us, and he clearly doesn't give a shit about him because when he's at the hospital with Ward and he's like, oh, Danny's served his part. And then he's like asking where he is because he's setting something up. He's going to double cross him, which
Yeah.
is how we ended the episode. And until that point, I had no idea what the last episode was going to be about because it felt like they'd closed everything else off.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Because so Danny comes. By the way, Bakuto is such a shitty villain. Mainly because his charisma is so lacking. He just stands and he's kind of like the worst parts of a classic Bond villain, where he just stands and tells you everything.
Yeah, and I kind of appreciate that in a Bond movie where it's kind of cheesy and it's kind of fun. But in this where it's like this is a serious monologue.
I mean, it's bad for a few. It's bad because he had one scene before he was properly introduced, which was like 4 episodes from the end, and he's supposed to be this big deal now. And he's been taken care of in the second last episode. I mean, he might come back because, as they mentioned, obviously, hand people can come back sometimes.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird where they were like, "Oh, are you sure he was dead?" And they're like, "Well, he was stabbed through the heart." And he's like, "Well, oh well." It's like, well, you just got off the phone with Harold, who came back from the dead because of the hand.
Yeah, well, that's what he says next, is it not?
Well, yeah, but does he not? Why does he think about this? Why is it such a big deal?
I'll forgive that a little bit because I feel like you maybe wouldn't be used to the idea that some people can just come back from the dead yet. Like, that's just a normal conversational thing where you'll say something and you'll realise mid-sentence, oh wait, yeah, this thing.
All right, that's fair enough.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I'll defend that a little bit at least. I mean, who gives a shit at this point?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Danny shows up and Bakuto leaves with Danny, and they go and Danny's handcuffed, but then magically his Iron Fist starts working again, and he escapes the cuffs.
It doesn't give us a reason why. It's just convenient plot timing.
That's all it is,
And the whole thing of why it wasn't working is like he was personally off balance, right? He was angry, he was afraid, all these things.
yeah, it was ever since he lost his shit and almost beat that guy to death.
Right, and there's an arc there to be had of him overcoming, regaining his center, and actually going, okay, I'm ready again. But you don't really get that. It's just like, well, it needs to work now, so let's have it work.
Another thing is he seems to have completely forgotten how mad he was at Colleen. Now, I get that she, of course, has come round to his way of thinking, so whatever, but it felt like he was immediately sticking up for her really harsh with Davos when Davos was like, oh, she's with the hand, and which, by the way, that's just felt like a repeat of scenes, except we now had Davos instead of Dany saying the same things, which
Yeah.
again made all that stuff at the start really tedious. Uh,
I did appreciate it was like, really, on top of everyone else you told someone in from the hand.
and to be fair, Colleen chimes in and goes, oh no, you didn't know. You didn't know, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. I was lying to him. It doesn't matter.
So Danny breaks out because his Iron Fist magically starts working again, and then Davos and Colleen show up in the lobby. And do you know what I was really noticing with this show? And I've been noticing it for a while, but it really stood out to me in this one because this was like the big climactic sort of stuff that was happening. Is they've really made a strong use of reusing like the same couple of sets. Like so much of this season has been in that penthouse. So much of this season's been in that dojo. Like it's really, and it's okay to have central locations that you return to. That's fine. But it really feels like this show has avoided doing anything in any cool locations. Obviously, there's one thing towards the end of this where they have this big fight outside, and that's kind of, they've got like a cool archways. It's all raining. They've put a
Yeah,
little bit of
there's
effort
a
in.
few nice shots in that fight scene actually,
Well, see when you've got archways and it's night and you've got like silhouette and it's
and the
raining.
rain and
It's
yeah, like the floodlights.
it's almost too easy to have some nice
It's especially the
shots.
shots where you just have it side on, just sit there and watch them go side to side basically, and it's just that just works. You can't mess that up.
It works, yeah. That part of those fight scenes worked. The one part of the fight scene I really, obviously they run outside, and Colleen's like, they deal with all the henchmen, right? The henchmen are all done with, and Colleen's like, this is my fight, he's my sensei, and she runs out into the rain, and her and Bakuto in the rain fight. It was hit and miss. There was one or two moments I liked. The moment that I thought was actually kind of cool was he snaps her blade, and it kicks up into the air, and she does like a sort of little spin kick and kicks the blade into his leg.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That was kind of cool. There was a couple of other little moments that were fine. There was some weird editing though, because after this, Davos and Dany start fighting, because Dany
Yes.
doesn't want to go back to Kunlun and so on, and they start fighting in the sort of the bit on the underpass, but there's actually a roof, so they're not in the rain.
Yeah,
They're under
so it's
the
immediately
archways.
less cool.
The editing stuck out to me in this one. There was a moment where Dany does this kind of spin flippy kick thing.
Yeah, yeah, another one.
And it cut the way it cut out that kick. It was like it just cut to him standing there, and it felt really jarring. It didn't really feel like the motion went into the shot.
Yeah, it was like they didn't set it up right for the stunt double. Like it didn't line up when they'd shot it, and
Yeah.
they just had to edit around it. Otherwise, it would have felt like he jumped from one place to another when he
Yeah,
didn't.
it just stood out. It felt jarring in the
Yeah.
edit. But I mean, I'll give this episode a little bit of credit, just in the sense that it did feel focused and that it was all revolving around kind of the one big thing that was going on. And that's nice. I do like that. But it does suffer, of course, for the fact that I don't really care about a lot of these characters. I hate Danny.
Yeah.
I hate the Meacham family pretty much. Not as much as I hate
Yeah.
Danny, but
No, Danny is actually the worst part of the show.
yes, it's funny because I've been seeing articles and stuff and people posting things on Twitter. Oh, Iron Fist would be pretty good if you took out Iron Fist. And I'm like, okay, he is the worst part, but he is just the start of the list. There's a list of problems. There's pacing, there's writing, there's inane dialogue. There's so much wrong. The fighting's not good. There's so much. It's not just him. He's the worst part,
Yeah.
but he's not the only bad part, and that is key. There's very little good parts is the problem. There's very little here where I'm like, oh, we could salvage this if it was just this and this. No, you have to change so much that you're basically with a different show at that point.
There is no point of it where I go, oh, at least I've got that part of this show to look forward to. Like even a lot of shows that I dislike, there's usually like something where it's like, well, at least there's that I can enjoy in every episode. But
So, Danny and Colleen make up, they go back to the dojo, and this is where the phone call with Harold takes place, where Harold is like, oh, where are you going to be? Obviously evil the entire time, which, by the way, I want to point out, right? So, admittedly, Colleen was kind of sick, she may not have heard it, but she was there when Gao was like, Harold's evil. And Claire's ignored this. Danny flat out said, oh no, your sermon's not working here, Claire. Your sermon's not working. She's telling me things. But, so maybe you could forgive and say Colleen maybe not a herd because she was under the weather. She was poisoned at the side of the room.
Yeah.
However, she also hears that he has to go to Harold
yes,
when he gets the phone call and doesn't go, wait, wasn't that one guy that the Gao said was like evil and working with the hand and all that
yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Nah, no one noticed. So shock and horror when it turns out. Do you know what? I'll give them one thing though. Ward given the warning is, I don't know if it's earned, but it's the most interesting story point probably in this episode, is that Ward has grown enough as a person and cares that he doesn't want Danny to be killed, which is a nice flip from the start of the show. Like, it should have been better written. Ward could have been far more interesting as a character, but at the very least, him making the choice to try and help Danny feels like a change in plot point. It feels like there's at least something interesting happening there.
Yeah. The other thing I liked to do with this is when Ward and Harold are talking, and Harold's like, "Oh, you tried to overthrow me," and he almost has a respect for that.
Yeah, I had to do it with my father, so now I respect you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can kind of appreciate that angle, but then Ward's like, "Own it, own it, Ward. Go, yeah, I am going to try and take you down."
Again, I like the Ward tries to help Danny. It feels like that's the end of what his arc's supposed to be. I think the arc isn't really there. I think a lot of it's missing, and it's been so horribly written.
Yeah.
And honestly, after Danny, like, again, he was with Ward a little bit longer than Joy, but after he went off to China and all that stuff's been happening, it's felt so separate.
It has.
That seeing them together again in this episode felt kind of weird. It was like, oh yeah, I forgot that Danny used to interact with these characters. It's been so goddamn long. The show almost forgot about it because we've been dealing with Colleen in the Hand and Claire and Bakoto and China and whatever else.
Especially when the first couple of episodes were entirely him interacting with the Meachams. That was all those first two episodes were.
Honestly, to go a little bit wider with this criticism, it's kind of a criticism that you can label to a lot of these seasons of Marvel Netflix shows, in that they all have this thing where the back half of the season feels different to the first half.
Yeah.
Not to this same extreme, because none of them have been as bad as this.
Yeah, obviously Luke Cage is the one that is the other most drastic, as it has a literal flipping point.
I'd argue Daredevil season 2 is just as drastic, really. Because you've got that 4-episode Punisher thing at the start.
I think it's just because it's so much earlier that more of the season is dominated by that. That kind of feels like that's what the season is. Whereas with Luke Cage, it was exactly halfway, pretty much.
Yeah, that's fair. But they all had this, like, Jessica Jones had the pill guy, which kind of deviated. I mean, and that was easily the worst part of that season, and so on.
Yeah.
They all have this kind of problem, but here, of course, none of it's been good. So, but I think the criticism still stands that this feels so different to the show that we started with, and it doesn't feel like we got here naturally. It feels like things have just been disconnected for a while, rather than feeling like the motivations have been there to really.
Yeah, it feels like they had ideas for two separate plot lines, and they don't know how to make them work together. Like, even now, they're supposed to have all connected and come back together, but they don't feel like they have. Not really.
Nah, I mean, obviously Harold's been connected to the Hand, and that's kind of how they're linking it. So the soldiers that come after Colleen and Danny at the end, they are DAA, I think.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like it's the Hand that's coming from him. It seems like he's.
Well, unless it is the Hand, and they've just got someone in that agency.
Yeah, but they specifically pointed this out, and they've never shown us what the soldiers were wearing before. So I'm thinking it's a new thing.
Yeah, because that's exactly what this needed. Last episode, a new thing.
Well, I mean, they never have they? Like, because we had soldiers like this show up when.
No, you're right.
They took them off with Bakuto at the end.
That is fair. Bakuto.
I'll say whatever the hell I goddamn want. I don't care. Right?
Yeah.
No, when he took them away, like, there were soldiers at that point, and they never made a point of showing us anything like that in that case. So
yeah, you're right. I think it's just so weird that this is the final episode, and we're only just going, oh, okay, I know what this is now. Because for so long it's like, okay, maybe Harold and Ward, they're the evil. Then I was like, oh, maybe it is the Hand with Gao, and then it's like, oh, maybe it was the other Hand. And then maybe it was, it's Davos, and they'll do that. But that was all resolved in this one, and it's just seems so strange to not know what the end game is going to be till so late.
It's disjointed. I can't really think of any other word for it, and it feels like so much the show has been wasting time.
Yes,
it feels like they don't know what the interesting parts of their own story are, and they've drawn out really weird segments of it that just feel redundant and feel repetitive, and then stuff is suddenly happening, and it feels like we're supposed to care, but you've not made me care because you've not made me care about these characters, you've not made me care about what's going on, and it's not worked. So
It has.
all right, there you go. It's episode 12. One more to go.
I think we need to have a bit of a celebration once we get through this final one.
One more to go, and I mean, I was convinced that they were going to save Davos to fight in the last episode because I thought, oh, he'll be the final fight. It'll be
Yeah, there's something that's personal for
Yeah.
Danny. That would have. I mean, I'm not going to say it would have been good, but I'd have liked the idea at least of it.
so. I mean, maybe he'll show up in the last episode, but if he actually just pissed off back to Kunlun at the end of this
Which
one,
kind of feels like he did.
I'm like, what was the point of that? That just feels so weird. Why did you even introduce him in this season then? Like, what has he actually contributed to the overall story by having him here and just leaving at this point?
Just to have a couple of extra cool fight scenes. I say cool.
No, he's been
Better.
there. He's been someone else to explain everything that's going on to for the 10th goddamn time.
Yeah, he has.
Oh well, one more to go, and it will be coming up later today. We are going to have that up. So, thank you very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen for general everyday ramblings. One more to go, guys. Thanks for watching. Have you got any vanilla?